So here's what we're going to cover today. If you've heard the AEO, if you've heard AEO being thrown around instead of SEO, you may be wondering what that is. It stands for answer engine optimization. So an answer engine is ChatGPT or Copilot or Perplexity, all these different models that are now becoming much more mainstream. We're going to talk about these three things today: why AI reputation matters, how AI generates answers about your company, like how are they getting this info and can you influence it? And then we're going to be talking about 5 specific strategies that you can use at your company. So I want to start off with a little bit of a story. Essentially, let's pretend that you're a recruiter. You've got this awesome candidate that you're really excited to extend an offer to. Everyone on the team loves this person. And then you all of a sudden get this email saying they're not interested anymore. And you ask for feedback. Why are you not interested? I thought this was like the perfect fit. You told us how excited you were about the mission and vision and the role. And they tell you this right here. Well, I asked ChatGPT what people were saying about your company, and what came back was not reassuring. Now, there's a recent research article that cites that about 11% of job seekers are now using AI to research potential employers. And you may say, oh, well, 11%, that's not that much, not a big deal. But that's going to grow. I'm sure that a lot of you guys have also had individuals cite employee reviews as a reason for not being interested in you as an employer anymore. But AI is taking that, all of that unstructured information across the internet and simplifying it in a really easy to digest summary. It doesn't really matter if that summary is truly reflective of reality or not, because it's there. It's public. People are seeing it. And if you've heard the phrase perception is reality, that 100% applies to online reputation. And it's now being in that level of complexity of what's being able to be surfaced to a user, someone that's searching you, is a lot more than what it used to be. It's not just search results and you want to be at the top of Google. And it used to be said, if you're on where's the best place to hide a dead body, page 2 of Google search results. That's not how it works anymore. AI is taking everything and referencing all of it. And so it's going to become increasingly more difficult to hide from those skeletons in the closet that you may have, those negative mentions online. And we need a proactive approach in place to influence what is being said. So basically, more and more people are going to be using AI. And so we need to be ready for positioning ourselves really well. So let's talk about how AI answer engines operate. How are they producing these summaries about us as employers? So we're going to go through a few pieces of info here. Answer engines learn by scanning and synthesizing publicly accessible content across the internet. So they're aggregators. They're taking a whole bunch of different types of data and putting it all together in one cohesive summary. They look at content based on quite a few different variables. They're looking at what's available, trustworthy, frequently repeated, and consistent across multiple sources. And then AI also relies on a few different places to collect this information. Your website is a key place where it's looking for info. Third-party directories, and when we say directory, that's like profiles, like your Google business profile or your profile on Crunchbase or Bloomberg or BBB or Trustpilot or industry-specific directories. There could be lots of different places where you're listed. Articles and press releases, it's getting info from there. Employee and customer reviews are high considerations data points for AI, because it's third-party validation coming from individuals instead of brand-produced content. And then other types of content like blogs, interviews, podcasts, industry features, those are all important places where AI is looking to find info for you. Now, it's not just about what is found, but it's also about what could be missing. AI deprioritizes or ignores content that doesn't have high quality. Maybe it's low quality, inconsistent. It's really promotional. It's hidden behind logins, and so it can't access that, or published on low authority or obscure domains. For example, if you're paying to get a whole bunch of press release syndication across lots of different news agencies, and it's sending you to like some random local news agency in Minnesota that doesn't really have a lot of credibility compared to national news outlets. Now, if there are gaps in your online info, AI is going to grab info from other places. For example, older reviews, older articles, and this one's probably the most concerning, competitor info. I don't know if you've ever gone to a website, especially like software websites, and they'll write articles about their offer against a competitor. And they'll have a series of articles of like us versus them, us versus them, us versus them. And they're doing that for SEO value in case someone is searching for that other competitor name. Hopefully that article surfaces well and it detracts someone that may be surfacing for that competitor and gets them interested in you. If you're not proactively putting a lot of information out there, then AI may just be pulling info about you from what your competitors are saying, which is not ideal. Just going to pause there. Any questions, any thoughts before we go to the 5 action items of how we can positively influence what's coming up? Nothing in chat, Zach?
No questions in chat. Emily said that she couldn't see or hear and that she left the meeting. So maybe can we just get someone to say, like, type good or let us know if you can see and hear? You're good?
Good call.
Working? Okay, cool.
Okay,
I'm getting some response. Thanks, Brandon and Grace. But okay, awesome. Just making sure it wasn't systemic.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so now let's talk about how we can positively influence AEO and position ourselves more favorably and ethically and reliably. That's really what we want to do. We want to make sure that the way in which we're approaching this is sustainable. Okay. And then just a reminder, if you could make sure you're on mute in case there's a little background audio there. Okay, so here are the 5 principles. Number 1, improving your employer ratings and reviews. Number 2, improving your customer ratings and reviews. Number 3, optimize website authority and AI readability. Number 4, build a credible footprint across the web. And number 5 is more technical, strengthen your technical trust signals. So these, with a lot of research that we've done, all of these smaller strategies roll up to these 5 themes to build really good AEO. So let's talk about each. So number 1, improve your employer ratings and reviews. Employer ratings and reviews are always going to trump internal scores for your company culture. If you have a good eNPS, but you have really low ratings, it's the low ratings on Glassdoor that are affecting people's behaviors and opinions about you, but that's also the data that AI has access to determine how good of an employer you are. So your eNPS, for all intents and purposes, doesn't really matter because it's not affecting the things that actually impact your business. You may love to hear in the boardroom that you have a great eNPS, but it's not affecting job seeker behaviors. Current employees may be leaving because of that if they see another company has great ratings and they're better than you, that could be contributing to voluntary turnover. And it spills over to buying intent as well, which we're going to talk about a little bit. So AI uses employee review sentiment to answer a lot of different common questions that could be searched about you. Things like, is this a good place to work? What is the culture like here? And which employers treat people well? All of those things could be related to those questions. And employee reviews also influence buyer intent, like I had mentioned just a minute ago, which is something that's interesting, especially in high service-oriented businesses. Employee reviews, if you think about it, function as a form of a product review, because it's the people that are delivering that service that people are paying for. It's a service product. And if the employees love or hate working there, that's a reflection of the service quality that a potential buyer could expect. And we're seeing more and more that employee reviews and customer reviews are having this kind of cross-contamination effect for both buyer searches and job seeker searches, investor searches. All of these are kind of crossing now. And so here's our list of specific things you can do for number one, how to improve your employer ratings and reviews. I did alphabetical here. A is diversify your employee review requests across many sites. Here are the 4 that we recommend: Glassdoor, Indeed, Comparably, and InHerSite. If you have a lot of reviews that are great on only one site, that's less credible for AI. It's also less credible for real humans that are looking, right? Like, just like we want to diversify our investments in a financial portfolio for greater stability, the same is true with our reputation. And if we have good, consistent reviews across a lot of platforms, that's also telling AI that there's increased trust and reliability in what it's discovering because there's consistency. If we have really good reviews on one site and really bad reviews on one site, that's called reputation disparity. And it's a huge turnoff for humans that are looking at this, because it's like, oh, why are they so great over here and really bad over here? Isn't this the same company? Like, I don't get it. Are they faking? Are they censoring things? Are they forcing employees to say certain things? Well, this low rating must be the true, unbiased, uncensored voice of the employees, and it reinforces trust in the bad and erodes trust in the good. So it's really important to diversify our strategy across several different key platforms. And in order to do that, we need to consistently ask for employee reviews across time, and we want to do that across the different platforms. One of our kind of big aha insights that we give to companies that we talk to on sales demos and our partners is you can ask for employee reviews once per year. It's not a one and done thing like a customer review is. So if you track who you've asked when, we know when we can ask them again and maximize the number of reviews we're getting so that we can have recency on an ongoing basis. The third thing is we want to reply to employee reviews. AI not only looks at what employees are saying, but it's actually indexing what we as the employer say in a reply to employees. And if we're showing up with a caring, helpful attitude in those replies, then that's reflected more favorably to showcase that we are transparent, that we have that we're more attentive to the needs of our employees. And the same would go for customers' replies as well. The next one is we want to use internal feedback loops as kind of a gatekeeping mechanism. If we have, say, like a digital suggestion box in place where employees can share anything that's on their mind at any time, and we're consistently replying, there's trust built into that system or that process. And some employees are going to opt to go there first, which is acting as a reputation insulator. It's also helping you address issues to create an actual better employee experience. And so having internal feedback loops paired with external feedback loops is exceptionally powerful for producing better experiences and a better online reputation. And then the last one is we want to use employee reviews in marketing. When we can find a quote in a review that's exemplary of a theme that we found about what people love about working for us, that's a great quote to use on a career page or a social media post, or even on the blank sidewall of a job description. You know, a lot of job boards have excess space that could be used for some employer branding content instead of just the job description. Number 2 is improve your customer ratings and reviews. And the recommendations here are pretty similar. Basically, customer reviews are obviously impacting commercial questions, like people that are looking to buy from you. And the volume of reviews you have, how many reviews you're getting, like your review rate, how many customers are leaving reviews every day or week, and your star rating and how that's trending is going to feed into if you're showing up or not for searches on AI about lists about your industry, or if someone's searching for you by name, that's going to affect the summary of your company. And just like we were talking about earlier, the cross-site consistency is key to showcase to AI that it's actually true what people are saying about us in those customer reviews. So here are the recommendations on how to improve your customer reviews. And I'm just going to click through all of them so you can see them at the same time, because it's very similar to what we would recommend for employee reviews. We want to diversify our customer reviews across many different sites. Depending on what industry you're in, this may vary just a little bit. Google My Business Profile is pretty universal for all businesses. Trustpilot is a great industry agnostic and high trust review platform where you can open a profile for free. So that's one we recommend to our clients. And then there may be industry specific review sites. And if you're in if you sell a lot of products, e-commerce product reviews may be really important for your business as well. We want to consistently ask for customer reviews. If you can automate that, triggered based on when a purchase transaction is occurring, or if you're more of a service-based business, you may train your staff to ask for reviews at the end of an experience, or maybe it's automated based on your unique needs. But it's key to have consistency in how we're asking for reviews and spreading out those customer reviews across the key sites where we're present and that we're targeting. We want to reply to those reviews, and we also want to have private internal feedback loops for our customers, whether that's phone number, email, chat, or suggestion box. Like, we want to be available to customers so that they have a way to share to us privately their concerns and questions, and that can act as a reputation insulator as well. And using customer reviews in marketing is huge. There was a study by Yotpo that found that the click-through rate of ads, like Facebook ads, for example, using customer reviews was, you'd get 4 times as many clicks compared to brand curated content at half the cost. So exponentially more efficient to use user-generated content in your marketing than imagery or content that you've produced, because it feels more real and it's more relatable. It's the community influencing the community instead of us as the business influencing the community.
Hey, Matt, you had a good question. It's actually one that popped in my mind, and I talk about this every day. So Scott asked, is it better to focus on one of these sites at a time or try to hit all of them around the same time? I'd imagine this was 5 minutes ago. I'd imagine he's referencing like Glassdoor, Indie Comparably in her site, and then this slide has Google, etc. So,
honestly, Scott, my answer is going to be the same for both employee reviews and customer reviews. We want to spread that out always. We don't just want to like, okay, let's go get 100 reviews on Google and then 100 reviews on Trustpilot and then 100 reviews over here and here and here. Don't do that. For a couple of reasons. It looks and feels unnatural. Like, we just have to ask ourselves, like, put on our consumer hat and think, when would the BS radar go off? Like if you're on Amazon and you see 100 reviews and they all came in within 2 weeks of each other, and then there hasn't been any reviews for over a year, it feels weird, right? So we want to replicate what's most natural by spreading out our review requests continuously right from the beginning across all of the sites that matter. And this whole process would start with a simple audit. First, we want to see where we're showing up. Maybe we're on some review sites that we didn't even know about. And that can happen because an employee or a customer goes to a review site that they like. They didn't see a profile for you, so they write the first review, and then your profile comes into existence. And then other people can write reviews, right? So we want to see where we're showing up. We want to claim those profiles. We want to actively manage them. There is one exception, and that's I call them like the leeches, the bloodsuckers, the bottom feeders of the review ecosystem. And those are sites like Pissed Consumer or Site Jabber that literally exists to feed off of negativity. You can never win on sites like that. And so don't engage, don't claim those profiles. Let it be what it is. Even if you had a 4.5, it's never going to help you because people expect to find negativity there. And in some industries, that can be places like Reddit or industry-specific websites that just feed off of negativity. We want to offset those places of negativity. We don't want to go poke the bear, leave them alone, and then stand up our strategy along several different key review sites that have high trust, high recognition, and systematically ask for reviews across those. So great question, Scott. Number 3, optimizing your website authority. So this is interesting. Your website, even though it's only one like data point for AI, it has a really high influence because it's your voice. It's coming from you to AI. And so it's really important that we optimize our website across a few different considerations. We want to have really good content across some of these key foundational pages. That's how AI essentially comes up with our brand identity, our brand voice, who we are. We're telling AI, we're introducing them based on what they find on the website. So it's really important those pages are up to date and current. And then this is a little bit technical. It may go beyond, your HR influence, but it's something you can pass on to a marketing individual or IT team. We want to make sure that there's schema markup. It's basically just code added to the website to help it be more machine readable, essentially, and have good SEO hygiene. So having good search terms and other things throughout the website. That's just something you can be the hero to your team by passing that on as a good recommendation of something to do to help increase your AEO. So here are the specific recommendations for optimizing your website authority. We want to ensure good SEO hygiene and schema markup. We want to maintain good foundational info across those key sections of your website. And if you don't have one of these pages or it's not very filled out, remember AI likes to fill in the gaps. And so we want to give it more to reference as much as possible. And then for the HR consideration, here's kind of the cheat sheet for your career page specifically. We would recommend at a minimum having all of these attributes there, like have your mission and values. Maybe that's not on your career page, but make sure it's on your website at a minimum. Talk about what employees love the most. These are like your why work for us bullet points. And if you compare your culture, your work product to like a product listing on Amazon, these why work for us points are like the bullet points of that vacuum on Amazon. We want to be able to efficiently and succinctly communicate why do people love working here. And if that is having you scratch your head like, oh man, I don't know. I mean, I know how I feel, but what about everyone else? What's the sum voice of employees? The way that you answer that question is analyzing all of your employee feedback. look at your employee reviews, look at internal surveys. That's where they can come into play on this, and find the top positive themes. Those are your cultural competitive advantages. Those are the things you should be pointing attention to in this section of why work for us. Because if you're attracting job seekers who get excited for those things, they're already predispositioned to align with the experience they're going to have, and they're going to be more likely to come and be engaged and more loyal and stay and be successful at your organization. Great companies still have 1-star reviews, and less good companies still have 5-star reviews, because it's about alignment. So we want to be a matchmaker in this sense by knowing what we're good at providing from a company culture and an employee experience standpoint, and then showcasing those things and attracting people for those reasons. So that's how we recommend approaching the careers page. Number 4, we want to build a credible footprint across the web. So this is about validation from other sources. What we say about ourselves on our website, that's one voice, a really important voice, but AI is looking for some validation from other places. It's actually a specific term called entity validation. AI is essentially going to all those directory sites. They're looking for articles. They're looking for reviews, podcasts, press, articles, all these different places to determine if you are legitimate, what people are saying about you, if other people trust you, and if you're a really engaged contributor to your industry, if you have authority in this space. For HR leaders specifically, you should be focusing on things like company culture awards, content pieces that are spotlighting your culture. And I have to give a shout out to In Her Sites. We're good friends with the team over there, and they do a really good job at producing content that showcases really good attributes of company culture and how people are treated within the business. So that's a really actually high value piece when it comes to AEO. And then leadership interviews, what your C-suite says, VPs, like anyone who's out there as like a public figure for the business, or maybe they're not a public figure, but they should be, what they say in articles and podcasts and other places, that has high value for AEO. So here are the specific recommendations for improving your digital footprint across the web. We would recommend qualifying for Best Place to Work awards. There are over 30 different Best Place to Work awards that you can qualify for across those top 4 platforms. Glassdoor, Comparably, and In Her Site they all have awards that you can qualify for based on the quality and quantity of reviews, and they're looking at recency as well. And so we want to have a continuous flow of employee reviews to qualify for these awards. And there are other awards out there that you can participate in that are more of like a pay-to-play model, like best workplaces, and a lot of states have local Best Place to Work awards as well. And those can be good, but they often have like a one-off survey. They often have a fee associated with it, and that can be good. But we like the review-based awards because it's simply a byproduct of taking good care of your employee reviews. So they both have their place, but they're both important. We also want to find ways for our HR leadership to be mentioned in the media, whether that's doing some podcast interviews or writing some articles, creating a LinkedIn newsletter. There are lots of different ways that you can do that, but you want to put content out there that's showcasing the thought leadership of your leaders. It's also important to publish some press release articles of things that are happening. If you already have like a news section of your website, make sure that you're incorporating some HR or company culture related press releases every so often. Those press releases that live on your website have high value, but then also sharing that with news outlets so that they also publish that content increases the digital footprint consideration right here. And then making sure that we're maintaining strong profiles across key directories such as LinkedIn, Crunchbase, Bloomberg, BBB, Google Business, and industry directory profiles. Those are really important, and make sure that we keep them up to date. Sometimes I've seen this happen where a company, they've got all these different profiles, and then something changes, a phone number changes, a website changes, headquarters address changes, company description changes, and then you don't go through and update that across your ecosystem of profiles, and that confuses AI and discredits the content. So we need to make sure that all of that basic info about your business is up to date and consistent across the web. Then the very last one, this one it's a little bit more technical, but AI looks at security considerations, like just basic security consideration for your website and cyber trust and website hygiene. So the recommendations here, we've got 3 of them. We want to deploy just modern security basics. You need to have HTTPS on your website. That's like the little security lock icon on your URL. If that's not there, that's like a no-go. You will be deprioritized for sure. We also want to make sure that we have secure hosting of our website, that there are automated security patches, malware scanning, firewall, bot protection, and updated plugins. Just because this may not be your thing, because you're in HR, you can share this with your team internally and they can go look at this. Because if these things are failing, then it's actually throttling your ability to recruit and retain, because you're getting deprioritized in answer engines. So that's why this is relevant. The next piece, we want to showcase our cyber trust. So this is the legal piece. We want to make sure that our privacy policy, terms of service, and other compliance considerations are publicly accessible on our website and that they're up to date. It doesn't need to be intense, like legal, complex jargon. It can be very straightforward language. In fact, clarity can be better oftentimes, but it needs to be publicly accessible. And then the last one is just maintain good website hygiene. Make sure there are no broken links, or that the format is good for mobile, no duplicate content, and fast load times, that kind of thing. So those are the recommendations for the technical trust signals. But that takes us to the end of our 5 recommendations, our 5 strategies. And so in our remaining minutes here, just want to open it up to Q&As. I would recommend, if you're wondering how your organization is doing, just ask AI. Go to ChatGPT, go to Copilot, go to Gemini, go to several different ones, and just ask. And it's going to tell you. Another recommendation I recently came across, HubSpot has a free AEO test. And if you just Google it, just search like HubSpot free AEO test. Pretty generic search. And that should get you there, and you can put in your website, and it's going to run you through 3 of the main answer engines and give you some scores on what's going well and what could be improved. But opening it up, any questions or thoughts about any of these topics today?
It always takes a second for people to be brave to chat a question or ask. So while you're thinking, we'll give you a minute. I just want to say, I've known Matt for almost a decade. He's dedicated his life to this process, and he is truly the world's premier expert in this. So don't be bashful in asking your questions. He loves to answer them, and he probably knows the answer. And then also, while you're thinking, Matt, we just had a personal experience with this. We were looking to switch schools for my daughter because she has academic needs, to be challenged more. Anyway, my wife ChatGPT'd the charter school that we were going to put her in, and it gave some less than favorable results, and it linked to Glassdoor. and she clicked them and she's like, whoa, 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 I'm not sure if this is the right place. And then she dug deeper, started pulling the thread, and we actually decided not to make the transfer based on their results in AEO. So like it actually is a thing, and it's just going to become more and more important. So yeah, any questions, again, chat them, ask them. And again, I guess while people are thinking of a question, I do have one. We have people on here who are not partnered with Mobrium, Matt, obviously, and we have people who are. So people who are not partnered with Mobrium, where should they start? Because there's a lot to do here. So like, what is like the most important thing, or where should they start to make sure that this is something they can strategize for in 2026?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, Zach, and really cool personal story as well about you guys searching for a school. I would say, you can talk to us. I mean, that's a little biased, but we're happy to help answer questions. If you're doing this on your own, I would say you kind of just have to start with an audit. You need to see where you're at, right? So doing that HubSpot free test is a good place. When we're doing this for people that come talk with us to see if it's a potential fit, we're doing our own audit of employer reputation and then sharing those results. But you need to see where you're showing up and how you're showing up, if it's favorable or not. And we always recommend like screenshotting your profiles with the timestamp on the screen. So you've got like hardcore documentation of, drawing the line in the sand where you're starting from. And then as you put something in place, you can make a comparison of where you started and where you got to. But that's definitely number one. You need to audit where you're at. And then next would be pick some things that you can start to work on. And maybe that's not all of those 5 things in every little detail, but maybe we just focus on the employee reviews as our piece. And then we tell, the marketing or IT team to highly prioritize some of those other considerations. So
perfect.
Yeah, you've got to do one thing at a time sometimes. But we've shared everything that we've found to be really important.
Perfect. Thank you. Victoria asked, how often would you recommend asking employees for reviews? Awesome question.
Good question. So we recommend once a year. I mean, if you think about the cadence of like an annual engagement survey, that's pretty standard. Things can change from year to year in someone's employee experience. And so that's a good cadence to ask. It probably needs to be just past a year, because like if they go to Glassdoor, for example, and it's been 11 and a half months, it's not going to let them write a new review yet. It has to actually have passed, like 12 months need to have passed first, and then it will let them write a review. So about once a year is what we would recommend.
And
great question, Victoria.
Part 2 to Victoria's question is probably my favorite question that ever gets asked. What would you say to a company that is afraid to ask for reviews in fear that they will see a decline? And then she prefaced that with, I think most people associate reviews with being either really great or very negative more often, and miss the value of gathering the middle ground data. What a question.
That's really good. And yeah, love that. So when you don't ask for reviews, you tend to get only the people that had a way positive or way negative experience are willing to go out of their way to share. And we've audited literally hundreds of companies' employer ratings and found in that environment where we're not asking, a company tends to get between 0.5 and 3% of their employees sharing. But when we proactively ask, we're lowering the barrier to participate, and we're unlocking the silent majority. And when that happens, we're getting a more reflective voice from the whole workforce, or more of them sharing. It does drive ratings up. Because if you think about it logically, most people that are just kind of happy, like, why are they going to go out of their way on any given day to write a review? But when you tell them it's important and you make it really easy for them to share, some of them are going to share. And that's mostly positive. You're still going to have some negatives come through, though. And how we reply to that can actually turn a negative review into a content piece that increases application intent or increases buying intent, because we're showcasing how we reply to a negative scenario. And so it is a volume game. The numbers are going to play in your favor. Of our partners, we've never had a client in the long term have a decrease in ratings. There may be a little volatility kind of getting started, but in the long run, it's that volume that takes you up sustainably and ethically. I think we're about at time here. So you want to kind of wrap us up, Zach, and we'll make sure to get this recording out to everybody.
Can I say
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
If you're not working with Mobrium, work with Mobrium. They're great. You guys have been great. You've been phenomenal. Your customer service is amazing. Your mission, the way you're educating our team on what to do and how to do this has been very amazing. So thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that.
Truly appreciate that, Brandon. It's been a joy to work with you guys too. So thank you so much. Happy to wrap this up. Matt, thank you so much. Super in-depth, lots of great information. A couple of things for a reminder. You do get SHRM PDC credits for this. That'll be in the follow-up email. Matt will send you some follow-up information as well of everything he talked about to implement in 2026. My title is Head of Sales. If you would love to chat and just see how this works, reply to that. Let us know. We'll do a free online reputation audit for you. We can show you what we found and then see if it makes sense to talk more strategy. If not, that's awesome too. But just let us know. And then Matt hosts a webinar the second Wednesday of every month. So lots of good information around this space. It's truly the future. So would love to have you hop on in the future too. So thanks again, Matt.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.